In a very dark game filled with weird characters, Kamaro is one of my favorites in Majora's Mask. You'll find him past midnight in Termina Field, dancing on top of one of the mushroom-like pillars. He says he's recently passed away and explains how he's filled with regret as he didn't get a chance to teach his newly invented dance to the world. This also seems to be the reason his spirit lingers behind in Termina Field. Link can mend his sorrows with the Song of Healing and in return gets Kamaro's mask. The mask lets Link dance just like Kamaro, and knowing that his legacy is secured, Kamaro can finally rest in peace. Now, say what you want about Kamaro's moves, but a dance that keeps its creator hanging around after he's dead? That's gotta be worth something, right? Coming in at number 9 is the Lake Hylia scientist from Ocarina of Time, whose research consists of experimenting with ways to make medicine by combining water from the lake with certain unusual compounds, which is reflected in his laboratory as it is filled with loads of chemical equipment, various sea creature and plant specimens, as well as a huge water tank. His help is invaluable toward the end of the trading sequence, as his knowledge and skill let him create some eye drops for Big Goron using a special Zora imported eyeball frog. The squeamish might not want to think about what happens to the actual frog, but one can assume he does exactly what his research suggests, namely somehow combining the eyeball frog or parts of it with water from the lake. Hey, it's still a better fate than becoming a tasty dinner for the scientists, which is his first plan when presented with a frog. It's unclear exactly what the purpose of the giant water tank actually is, but if Link can make it all the way to the bottom with the golden scale, he'll at least be impressed and hand out a heart piece. Without a doubt, Professor Shikashi is the one you want to ask about space if you're from Termina. He is an astronomer who lives just outside Clocktown in an observatory, spending his days gazing through his giant telescope, observing and researching everything that occurs in the heavens. He's also doing research on minerals from space, and is the one who informs Link about how sought after moonstars are, a gemstone that he also named himself. Stating that he's had a special interest in the moon since he was young, the Skull Kid's evil plans have not gone unnoticed by the professor, and during the 3 days in Termina, he carefully monitors the moon's development with increasing concern as it gets closer and closer. It's very tragic that despite being the most well-versed on the astronomy of Termina, he still can't do anything about the impending apocalypse. Staying behind in Clocktown until the very end, he accepts his fate and seems at peace with it. I know what you're thinking. Aren't these just those two canes from A Link to the Past? Well, someone had to have created them, and given their power, it's only natural to assume that these names are the signatures of their creators. I mean, if I had created something that powerful, I'd make sure I got credit for it. I like to think of them as two ancient rivaling wizards of Hyrule, competing to make the most powerful cane. Somarias, the red one, was capable of conjuring magical blocks of energy, which could be thrown at enemies, turned into energy bolts with another wave of the cane, or used as really dangerous paperweights. Burna's blue cane, on the other hand, bestowed temporary invulnerability upon the wielder. It's hard to say which is the most useful, but one cannot deny the competence of the inventive minds who created these two powerful artifacts. Residing in Kakariko Village, Barnes is Link's go-to explosives expert. However, after Link and Midna accidentally kinda burned down Barnes' storehouse at the start of the game, he's only able to offer a meager selection of bombs. But as the game progresses, his handmade stock is eventually expanded as he acquires new materials and has the time to produce new bombs. The first being the incredibly useful water bombs that make it possible for Link to blow things up underwater for the first time in the series, which is essential in the Lakebed Temple, as well as in finding all the treasures buried in Hyrule's lakes and rivers. And while there are no bomb chews in Twilight Princess, Barnes' next invention works in a similar way. The bombling seek out targets on their own and allow Link to blow things up from a distance. With this in mind, I think we can all forgive Barnes' somewhat high-strung and cowardly nature, as his pyrotechnical genius is a huge help in getting rid of the evil forces threatening Hyrule. A researcher of the paranormal, Pamela's father resides in the cursed Ikana Valley, where he studies the occurrence of spirits, ghosts, and fairies. In his research, he discovered a melody which repelled Gibdos and used it to make sure he and his daughter were left alone, by building the music box house they live in, which plays the aptly named Farewell to Gibdos song on an infinite loop. The river that powers the water wheel connected to the music box house has dried out when Link first enters the canyon, causing the Gibdos to run rampant. After restoring the flow of water and entering his and Pamela's house, Link discovers the professor in a closet, half human, half Gibdo. After mending his spirit with the Song of Healing, the professor recovers and gladly shares all his knowledge of the surrounding area and its bloody history, specifically the occurrence of Garo ninjas and the nature of the Gibdo-infested well, where he himself was cursed even though he doesn't remember it. He's very interested in Link's fairy Tattle and has a ghost radar which detects the spirit present in Link's masks, asking both the hero and his fairy to stay so that he can conduct research on them. A 35-year-old man who dreams of becoming a fairy, having a fondness for balloons and green clothes, Tingle is hard not to love. In truth, his only original creations are his magic words, Kulu Limpa, which, while conjuring nothing more than a small burst of green sparkles, are unique and memorable. The reason I think he's an inventive character is that so far he's the only one who's realized that Link's line of work creates a very viable business prospect for someone good at making maps. His skills as a cartographer and entrepreneur have ensured Link rarely has to go anywhere without a knowledge of his surroundings, and it looks as if Tingle's business will be prosperous for years to come, as long as his red balloon will take him where he needs to be. Number 3 on our list is Syrup, our favorite magic potion and powder selling witch. Now, while the name Syrup is only officially given to the witches in A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, Oracle of Ages and the Minish Cap, I like to think of Granny from Ocarina of Time, as well as the old ladies from the NES games, as incarnations of Syrup, since they function in virtually the exact same way. In my mind, she is the original inventor of the magic potion, as well as the procedure which turns toadstools into magic powder. And having said that, there is simply no telling how many times she's helped Link save the world, with a bit of extra life, magic, or sprinkle of powder. Very little is known about her in general, but given how important her creations have become to the series as a whole, I think she deserves some recognition. I like Maple too, but the apprentice has yet to become the master in this case. Taking the runner-up spot on our list is the entire race of lovable, bird-like, humanoid-faced sky beings from Twilight Princess. The Uka, as they are called, are highly advanced inventors, responsible for creations such as the extremely powerful sky cannons, the Dominion Rod which brings life to inanimate objects, and their very own flying city. Rumored to be favored by the gods of Hyrule, the Uka have been around since the beginning, passively observing the ages from their city in the sky, content with being left alone and maintaining little contact with the lands below. The exception being the royal family, to which the Dominion Rod was handed down in order for one messenger to be able to contact the Uka should the need arise. As time went on, the relationship between the Uka and the royal family grew weaker, and by the events of Twilight Princess was non-existent. Evil forces began encroaching on the lands of Hyrule, and the city in the sky was overrun by monsters. Link got to experience their technology firsthand, as he used both the rediscovered and reactivated Dominion Rod and a repaired Sky Cannon to help them save their magnificent city, and retrieve the final Twilight Mirror Shard hidden within. In a game that centers around time travel, Cheval's story is one of the most touching. Encountered in the past just outside Lina Village, Cheval is an aging inventor who says that before he dies, he wants to complete 2 inventions that he hopes will help the world: rope that won't decay in water and flippers for swimming. As you leave his house, your fellow time traveler Ralph shows up and immediately states he's seen the name Cheval on a grave in the present. Now, to have peripheral characters truly die in Zelda games is pretty rare and always leaves me with a chilling reminder of mortality. Link makes his way to and into Cheval's crypt in the present and discovers the finished inventions after passing a test left by the inventor himself. The Cheval rope lets Rafton make a raft fit for traveling the open seas, and the flippers let Link swim in all the lakes and rivers of Labrina. If you go back to Cheval in the past after acquiring his inventions, he will say that seeing Link somehow gives him hope for his research. Cheval is a true inventor in the sense that he created things not for personal gain, but in order to help and better the world, as he knew he wouldn't be around to see them come to use. His legacy extends from beyond the grave, and that is why he's my #1 most inventive character in The Legend of Zelda. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna be making more like this, so keep an eye out. But until then, take care and I'll talk to you soon.